thing happens again. Remember, we're on 7-16. A new ban, at least on the red side, comes out. Mysterious Monkeys banning the Galio. It was banned in game 1 on the blue side. Now, this is a new ban for the series of the Janna coming out. This is a ban that is a very disengaged focus. Along with that, Gragas, Schalke basically saying, we don't want you getting rid of our engage potential.
And it means you have to ban the Zac if you're Mysterious Monkeys, unless Amazing has been practicing his Xerxes cosplay and has practiced the jungle Poppy. Getting rid of the Janna makes a lot of sense.
Now, that leaves the Caitlyn unbanned. Of course, 7-16, she did receive a few nerfs towards her mid-game when it comes to her Q and her traps. Another ban from the last game was that Jarvan that was available, and that is now picked up. A blue side flex, which is a little uncharacteristic, but it still is the same. Could be top lane. It's one of Smitty J's most played champions at the regular split. And you have to imagine Memento. It's in his wheelhouse. Jarvan jungle has been popular for weeks now. Gives them engage potential, and you've taken away a lot of the disengage.
Did take away the Alistar in the last game as well on the side of Mysterious Monkeys. They will pick that one up for themselves alongside the Elise jungle for Amazing. Hasn't always been the best on these early game junglers, usually prioritizing getting a tank or a utility jungler, which we actually saw work out quite well for him in game 1.
Yeah, we did see it work out well in game 1. Now with the Tristana taken away, remember we were talking about how Tristana, one of the best remaining AD carries in game 1. Schalke sticking to a lot of the same picks as game 1 here. I want to touch on whether Janna also can come in and now punishes Schalke ever so slightly. Remember, Schalke struggled against the Janna when they were playing the Alistar. Now they don't have that as an option for themselves, should they want to pick that. That was against Team RB, because things Janna heavily denied Norskaren's Alistar play.
And it's an interesting dilemma as well, because they did an interview about that afterwards with, I think it was with Slingshot, and they said, we don't actually see many other counters to Alistar apart from the Janna in the lane. You know, Morgana can kind of work, but it's very difficult to use the spell shield effectively. And apart from that, you really struggle to think of any direct counters. Maybe Braum is a possibility, but Mysterious Monkeys, after picking up this Xayah, now have ban priority and can look towards that AD, support, or even the mid lane.
So I've had one of the questions mulling around in my brain for 7-16. Talking back on that Caitlyn, I wanted to touch on it because Xayah was locked in. Now, I feel like the Xayah was the option here, because I wonder if Caitlyn's mid-game would be heavily outdone by the Tristana, the Jace, the Jarvan that can force fights, and if Caitlyn doesn't have flash, suddenly you end up dying. I wonder whether that's why you've got the Xayah, you have the ultimate to avoid a bit of damage, you've got the crowd control coming through, but we are into ban phase 2 coming through. We'll track that AD carry matchup as we go further through the draft.
And we were talking about how Schalke and Fear are going to change their draft, or change their playstyle coming into this tournament. It's actually Mysterious Monkeys that have entirely changed the way they're drafting this lane. You've got a really aggressive bottom lane with the Alistar and with the Xayah. You've got the Elise for the early jungle presence that you didn't see from Amazing in the last game. They are the ones who think they need to adapt quite heavily here to face into Schalke.
Now, have a bottom lane that can be aggressive. Alistar, sometimes you'll see him if he's up against a ranged champion now and dual ranged in the bottom lane. That undoes the Alistar, so does force him to play a little bit more defensively, a little less aggressive. And I wonder whether Schalke will look to draft the likes of a Morgana, which ironically, Norskaren said is very difficult to make work against Alistar in the very same interview that they talked about Janna with Slingshot Esports.
Exactly. Mysterious Monkey's going to get the Gnar for the top lane. Schalke, we talked about a possible flex from the Jarvan early on. Not going to be flexed as we've got the Jace and now the Cassiopeia for Caitlyn.
That means it is the Jace up in the top lane against the Gnar, which is a good matchup that a lot of coaches, a lot of top laners talk about. Good matchup when you look at a lane presence. Now, Gnar has more team fighting potential up against the likes of a Jace. There is, however, a team fight coming through when you've got a Cassiopeia in the mix, you've got a Braum to kind of play a disengage, and Schalke already have a Jarvan, so I don't know whether that's the biggest concern for Schalke, is that, oh, maybe our top laner can't quite team fight as well as we would like.
It's going to be a Talia for Mysterious Monkeys to round it out, and Schalke haven't really relied on Smitty J to team fight that effectively. In fact, I think he did minimal work in team fights in the last game, although his long-range shock blasts were always on point. Mysterious Monkeys going for Talia in mid, something Coscu has played a few times across the course of the split, but as a composition, they seem to have this team fight / zone control organization going on.
Yeah, I wonder whether Mysterious Monkeys will continue to look topside, bring the Talia up as well. You've got the Elise to try and get the Gnar ahead. You've got a squishy matchup against it with the Jace. That's one option for MM, and then you at least have Yuki on a team-fighting AD carry. That's what we say he likes to play. We've seen that in the LCS. Schalke, on the other hand, this is a little more back to what we saw in the playoffs. It's a Tristana who is going to take a little bit of a step backwards with the Braum, might not necessarily have full control over the laning phase, still good. Cassio, still good, but might have to take a step back for the first 10 minutes of the game or so, and then look to get in later on. Now we have to question, where does Memento go? We have to watch, wait to see that play and see whether it's that play style coming out once again where he looks to the bottom side to try and offset some of this difficulty, unlike in Game 1.
And it's interesting we talk about the different styles from both of these teams, because it's very difficult to dive into the separate styles of Mysterious Monkeys. They haven't really shown us much more than a singular strategy throughout the course of the split. Perhaps this game will be the one in which they do prove themselves to have a little more than one string to their bow.
They certainly do have the option. Gnar, an exceptional team fighter. If Kikis TPs. That's the problem, is Kikis, at times, holds his TP for a very long time. A lot of the time that actually gets extra objectives from Mysterious Monkey, so you can see why that is one of the pitfalls in quotes that sometimes MM fall to, because sometimes it does have that benefit.
Definitely can. Schalke 04 1-0 up in this best of 5. The winner of this goes into the upper bracket and only needs to win one more best of 5 series to get back into the LCS, or into the LCS. Actually, back into the LCS for both of these guys, because Mysterious Monkeys are going to be, well, they'd stay in the LCS. I'm technically stress Mysterious Monkeys stay in the LCS and Schalke 04 get back into the LCS, but I kind of want to think of both of these teams as out of the LCS at the moment, so they're both going to get back into the LCS.
It doesn't matter whether you're in or you're out, you're hot or you're cold, you're yes or you're no. Whoever wins this goes to the winner's bracket. The winner of that ends up in LCS. We don't need any other quantifiers on it.
Well, let's have some quantifiers as to how these teams are going to play, Stress. So, Schalke 04 once again picking the Jace, getting scaling in their mid lane and in their AD carry. Is there a particular breakpoint they are waiting for before they can start really trying to take the game to the Mysterious Monkeys?
It's almost like that Schalke 15-minute alarm is going to go off and suddenly they'll start to fight. I think that may not synergize the best with like the Tristana, the Cassio. Maybe they need a little more time, but we know that's when Schalke like to make those plays, like to try and get there when they're on that 1.5 to 2 item point. There's a lot of champions, or at least in the mid lane in this game, that have had adaptations on 7/16, nerfs actually for both of these champions, around the mana cost. So basically, Cassiopeia, to talk about the mid lane, has lost mana from her base mana pool. It actually results in having one less Twin Fang to start the game from her mana pool. The Talia for CosQ, the mana cost of Q increased. That denies some of her wave clear. So Talia has been hit in the ability to push. Cassio has been hit minor amount in the ability to trade. I want to see how that actually plays out in this laning phase, because we get to see two nerf champions against each other.
Especially with two individual players that we rank quite similarly.
Yeah.
They're on a very equal sort of playing field, a very equal footing as individuals. Have to see if one of them can take the advantage over the other.
And while both of these champions are very meta, I would say almost they're playing the opposite person's champion. I always associate CosQ with the Cassiopeia. Now, Kadril does play it a lot too, but I would imagine Kadril to be the more ready player to bring out the Talia. So very interesting matchup. We will track that as we go through this game. Memento.
Once again, coming for the evade, gets the steal as well, and Amazing will have to back away. Jumps up with the Cocoon, but Amazing, a player who has prided himself on consistently winning promotion tournaments, once again loses an early buffer. Memento is not done yet. Amazing gets forced back, another Cocoon. But Amazing is just losing his entire jungle. Going back across Amazing's history though, 4 wins, 2 with Copenhagen Wolves, 1 with Origin, 1 with Fnatic, and now perhaps 1 with the Mysterious Monkeys. But he seems to have to be more of a carry for the Mysterious Monkeys than he was for any of these other lineups.
That is fair, and we saw him getting pushed out in the top side once. Now Memento to go in. No. Ooh, Kikis managed to jump out of the way of Memento just in time, didn't get knocked up on that exchange. So across the map, a couple of trades back and forth. Amazing. Pushed out of the jungle, bottom lane. Schalke ended up taking a bit of a rough trade. We spoke briefly in the first game about the Tristana, the Braum, how their interactions can actually work. You stack up the Braum passive and jump forward. Very effective to go aggressive. We'll see commonly people die at level 2 or 3 to that strategy, but amazing now trying to compensate, looking for a push on Cadel. Good flash.
Had to flash away from the seismic shove. As soon as you see Amazing coming out from the bushes, you know that you will lose that trade. It was, of course, Fnatic Academy that Amazing qualified for, not Fnatic, as I said. They've been in the LCS for a lot longer than a few of these guys. Kick is qualified with him on Fnatic Academy in that spring promotion tournament. And now we're going to see how well Mysterious Monkeys can adapt to the changes that Schalke have brought out, because this is more of the general Schalke style we tended to see. Mysterious Monkeys have switched their lineup around a little bit, with Amazing having to be a bit more aggressive early on, and already he has fallen behind Memento in terms of getting those buffs and getting those objectives early on.
And Memento, remember, visited top side, didn't get a summoner out of Kikis. Now Amazing looking back again. No flash, remember, for Cadel.
Gonna get the seismic shove down onto Cadel. He uses the heal. Memento's here. Cadel will finally take a rock to the back, and Memento is unable to save his mid laner.
Cadel pushing forward. He talked about how the Talia maybe has a little bit more of a difficult time pushing the wave out. Well, if you allow the Cassio to push forward with no flash available, then suddenly you can actually get that kill to work. And all of the work from Memento and everything on the top side of the map, and Amazing finally manages to re-emerge through that middle lane play.
And part of it is the experience that Amazing has over Memento. Memento are one of the more experienced members on the Schalke 04 roster, but still only about a quarter of the games that Amazing has played in the European LCS. And you have to remember, Amazing played in the North American LCS as well, so that number is padded out even more. A strong early start here for the Mysterious Monkeys. This is what we wanted to see from them. And now the question arises, how much can Cosq do when he has a lead over an enemy mid lane?
It is something we rarely saw in the EU LCS. We rarely saw a lead for Cosq. This game has started in a similar fashion to how the previous game started, where it was, remember, Mysterious Monkeys got an initial kill, then followed it up with 2 further kills for themselves, but then couldn't quite play this playstyle. I feel like Mysterious Monkeys will have a slightly easier time now. Yes, Nara is behind. To be expected against a Jace that has had jungle presence in the top lane as well, especially when Mysterious Monkeys have lost the jungle matchup earlier on in the game anyway. I feel like Kikis will once again try and scale into the matchup later on, but that means a little extra time. The key is going to be team fighting. Team fighting and skirmishes around about that 15-minute mark is when both teams like to come online.
Amazing flash straight away from Upset as Smitty J was on his way down. And actually, this is something we've seen so much from Schalke in the Challenger Series and in playoffs. They are now the one to go for the early rotation. Mysterious Monkeys did it in game 1. Schalke say, nope, we're getting out of this laning phase. We're going to move our bot lane up towards top.
And you can see why this play is made here, because they're ending up going on a situation where the mid lane, the bottom lane was actually in a neutral spot for Yuki, so he doesn't have the aggressive push. But when you've got the Tristana, you can actually compensate for any early presence out of Mysterious Monkeys' play. But look, Kikis can cut the wave underneath it. Oh, Upset actually getting caught. Whew, wow, nearly getting locked under the tower, and this ends up being in favor of Mysterious Monkeys. That wave wasn't anywhere near enough to stay under the tower.
Mysterious Monkeys get the first tower. I was drinking during that stretch.
I know, I nearly
water
got
in my mouth,
out.
almost spat it out everywhere. He surprised me, and perhaps it surprised Schalke 04 as well. As Upset did just jump away. They will lose out on the first tower blood. Something Schalke have been a lot better at doing than Mysterious Monkeys across the course of the split. But this is what we wanted to see, Stress. This is the adaptation. This is Mysterious Monkeys taking a bit more of an advantage in the early game. And this, if they can snowball this advantage away, perhaps we'll see Mysterious Monkeys on that scoreboard.
And we're too early for a Rift Herald play to come through out of Schalke, so it ends up being that Mysterious Monkeys get the dragon from it. They exchange it for a red buff. pretty sure Amazing and Mysterious Monkeys will say, okay, thank you for that. That'll be fine. We don't really need the red buff. As much as the experience is nice, I'll get some extra on the Dragon on the bottom side, get everything else. Okay, so we're looking at Cadril and Upset for Schalke to look to scale a little bit. We have to question whether Smitty J can go out on the side lane and make his presence felt, and then see whether Mysterious Monkeys actually compensate for that by sending the likes of a CosQ, of a Kikis 2 versus 1 against Smitty J. See if they can actually punish him for any kind of push.
Okay. Approaching the 10-minute mark of the game, Mysterious Monkeys have about a 500 gold lead, very similar to game 1. And actually, it's this time Smitty J who is going down the lethality route. Probably going to be an Essence Reaver. That's more along the lines of what we see from Jace's rather than a pure Duskblade.
Now, if we do end up seeing any of that lethality build come through, maybe the Ghostblade is another option that would come through on this.
I didn't mean Essence Reaver.
I was going to say
Essence Reaver doesn't build out of the lethality.
I didn't want to call you out.
No,
It's not
call me out. That was
Warhammer.
entirely wrong, Stress. I meant Yumu's Ghostblade.
No,
I did not mean Essence Reaver.
Well, there's going to be a wall here. We can put a wall behind this and end up moving forward on this game, Medic. But I think committing to the tower on the top side easily will take that one down.
And they don't lose a tower in the bot side, so now Mysterious Monkeys get another tower unanswered from Schalke Null Fear, and we'll have to see if Schalke can eventually take a tower in response.
I know where you were going on it, though. Look, Essence Reaver on Yuki. That's
100%.
who was building it. That's what you were looking
where
at.
I was going.
Of course, builds towards the later game for that Xayah to come through, more damage, whereas on the opposite side, Upset, very common route we've seen from people on the Tristana, picking up the Berserker's Greaves for themselves. That allows you to get into lane, the attack speed. However, ult comes through, flash forced.
So it's not actually the Mysterious Monkeys who are putting pressure on towards the split pusher. It is Schalke Null Fear who are pressuring the split pusher. Schalke step back with Smitty J, they lose a Rift Herald, and because of that, Mysterious Monkeys are able to still take the advantage.
Right, and the important thing here is Mysterious Monkeys, their position on the map has been such that they can take the advantageous trades. Although going to Rift Herald does mean you can't punish Smitty J, what it does mean is you'll be able to likely crack mid tower soon. They got bottom tower, remember, for Mysterious Monkeys, then get the Dragon. They go top side, get top tower, then go for the Rift Herald. Within 4 minutes, Mysterious Monkeys have picked up 4 objectives and given away 2 for it. And that is such a good trade for The Cloud Drake will let them reposition quite effectively, and now they can try and break this Cassiopeia line.
And this is exactly what we expected to see compared to first game as well, because Mysterious Monkeys did exactly the same thing. But as the game got later on, it was Schalke who came out on top. Upset, such a great carry, ending that game 6-0-6, and across the course of the split, he has had an incredible performance as well, Stress. Topping the numbers in kill percentage, very high in damage percent as well. And this CSD, that's the laning disadvantage we talk about.
Yeah, the one that Schalke draft into. It isn't necessarily about Upset as a player, but the matchups you are given and holding them to a moderate position. A lot of the time he's been in disadvantageous matchups. RB, he was playing up against Kalista 4 games in a row. That is where a lot of that deficit comes from, which Schalke assume and, you know, basically think of as an acceptable deficit for Upset, because we know his strength comes later into the game. Again, that'll happen on this Tristana. It's not so much that Xayah will crush a Tristana at all, but we know that Tristana also scales very well, very safe later into the game.
Stress, I want to establish some expectations for myself. Because as a play-by-play caster, sometimes I don't know when a team is going to be good. I don't know when a team's going to be able to make the big plays. And I think we can both agree that Schalke are just looking for the late game. And the later the game gets for Schalke, the better it is, because they've got this scaling Cassio and they've got this scaling Trist, and they scale all over the place. But Mysterious Monkeys, we say they want a team fight. We say they want to go for these engages. How do they actually do that? How do they actually set up these plays that they want to have?
So a lot of it is going to be based on using Dreams and Amazing together, move in, control areas like the Baron Pit where you can deny vision, use Kikis on the side lane to create pressure in a second place and then bring him in. Now this is to make sure they can use the Rift Herald to their advantage. Look, Norskeren and Kayla are a little caught here, but there's no minion wave again. Norskeren
so low, he actually manages to survive. Amazing jumps in, but there is the Feather Storm, a kill. The tower does manage to keep itself alive as Mysterious Monkeys will eventually push it in. It's their third turret of the game, and with it, a 2,000 gold lead.
It feels like Mysterious Monkeys have had deliberate practice on Rift Herald plays, because it is exactly the same thing that happened in game one. Different champion setups, but that doesn't matter. It's Rift Herald after you've killed the enemy wave. Rift Herald crushes through the tower. You use engage tools as the Rift Herald aggressively charges, and as your wave crashes in, you get a kill, you get the tower, and you get out of there. Very similar to game number one. Feels very practiced and very set piece-like.
And the ability to lock off some of the enemy team with this wall as well is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And then MM look forward. They know they can get the damage down onto Norskeren. Amazing gets himself out of there. Yuki gets out as well. And the tower falls in their favor. Kikis even making sure he didn't have to use his TP by coming to the middle lane. It looks clean. Game one, okay, Dreams died when they did it, but that's an acceptable loss.
Both times it's been a support that died.
Yeah.
This time it was Norskeren, last time it was Dreams. Maybe next time they get a mid laner or an AD carry, you never know. And coming back to that idea of deliberate preparation for a specific set play, it's something we see a lot in sports. So they say, this is the free kick we want to run, and this is exactly how we run it. And people say, oh, but the enemy team can adapt. The enemy team can change the way they defend against it. But at this sort of level, the speed of reaction is not going to be as quick as if you're playing against Fnatic or G2. So having these set plays, having these strategies that you use time and time again can actually be incredibly beneficial to keep yourself in the LCS.
And that's the thing, is like a clean play with a setup that you've done 10 times. The enemy might have only played against this once or twice. And I don't know whether it's necessarily against like a Fnatic or a G2 who do have more experience adapting, but certainly being sure in the way that you're setting up plays can go a very long way. And that, again, wraps all the way back to the experience factor for Kikis and Amazing, because they have taken teams from different levels. Kikis has done it, Amazing has done it all the way through Challenger, where they have been able to impress some of their knowledge and the way that you play the game onto the lesser experienced players. And you have to feel like, to some extent, that is happening again with Mysterious Monkeys.
And it's the early game where they're really being able to show up. And that's the portion of the game that you get to practice more, because it's easier to play a 20-minute match than it is to play a 45-minute match time and time again, Stress. And I think that's where we see Mysterious Monkeys having this strong early game, but their later game perhaps not being as tight and as clean as some of these earlier plays.
Very true. Very, very true. And we actually heard Upset talking a little bit, again, in an interview earlier in the week, where he was saying that playing with Vander helped him get to that level. And now almost he's giving that over to Norskeren as part of that experienced play. So both teams, we already mentioned this going into game one, are in a very different position to the last time that a lot of these players faced off against each other. And that's why there's this very complex back and forth presence in the game here, and why it's difficult to separate both of these teams.
And alongside that, there's an emotional element to it, a mental element to it, because firstly, going behind can definitely make you struggle in a series, but also playing against a team that knocked you out of playoffs can make you struggle, as Memento tries to knock up Kikis in the bottom lane. It is this 2v2 that we talked about. The rest of Mysterious Monkeys are on their way down. The Gnar does not knock back Memento, but here comes the Weaver's Wall. Where are the rest of Schalke? They're in the other lanes. The carries are not here, and they have no way of getting here. Schalke will have to flash away and give up the tower.
Two important flashes used here in exchange for MM getting the tower. A couple of ultimates, yes, Mysterious Monkeys used the Weaver's Wall, the Gnar as well, but that's fine. And that's what they want to trade for flashes, because they'll be back available sooner than the enemy's flash. You mentioned Upset being in the middle lane away from the fight. The reason he is so hellbent on farming is because his itemization was in an awkward spot. He had a pickaxe, he had a Zeal, he's now got a BF sword. He's halfway between an Infinity Edge and the Static Shiv or the Rapid Fire Cannon, but he doesn't have either yet, and he needs more time. We spoke about 15 to 20 minutes is roughly when Schalke want to hit that go point, but if they don't have the items, if they're stuck in between the items, they won't be able to get that effective team fight going.
Is a 2,000 gold lead for the Mysterious Monkeys, but we are starting to get to that 1.5 item point, that 1.5 item go button, that 1.5 item green light for Schalke 04. They lost a lot. They've conceded 4 towers to only 2, where usually they're the team that take so many more towers than their opponents. But Mysterious Monkeys have been able to play the map a lot better this game. In game 1, it was Schalke pulling them around the map. Now it seems to be Mysterious Monkeys, the one on the front foot making these plays. And
a lot of the difference between the teams is actually compensated by the fact Smitty J, for a 2nd game in a row, has this Jace, has a CS lead up against Kikis. Kikis, more comfortable to play around the rest of the team in this game. Memento has maintained a 40 CS lead from the jungle for the last 9 or so minutes. It actually ties him even on gold with Amazing at this point, and that farm is helping him to stay relevant. But as you said, Mysterious Monkeys, more focus on the objectives. 2 Cloud Drakes on top of those towers already means that when they want to fight, they're very quick to try and get that pick. Whether it's the Elise, whether it's using Cosq to get the Weaver's Wall down, Mysterious Monkeys can make a decision to go very quickly.
What people like me will be thrilled to see is Mysterious Monkeys moving forward, getting this vision control. We said it, Dreams and Amazing, step forward, get vision, go for the Baron, set up in this river, and then we'll start to see Schalke having to react, starting to have to actually make plays around the vision control that Mysterious Monkeys have got. And we see Schalke as their 4-man are actually going to push up towards this river here. They are slightly behind in terms of item, perhaps a half item, a full item here or there. Memento gets knocked back, and Cosq's been on point with this Talia thus far.
He has. He's looked good. We've seen it from him a couple of times, but one thing we just saw happen is part of the reason why Schalke hasn't been as aggressive is Memento is still quite squishy. He doesn't yet have a 2nd item completed. You can see he's got a Chain Vest, he's got a Kindle Gem on top of it, but he can't reliably go aggressive and know they're going to kill whoever he goes on to without him dying. Memento is the primary engage for this team. They need it to stick. They need to get whoever he jumps on. And when there's flash, 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 everybody on Mysterious Monkeys, that is not a certain kill. And it's more likely Memento without his flash will die in exchange for just a summoner.
This is the objective control we saw out of the Mysterious Monkeys when Kikis and Amazing first joined the team in week 4 of the LCS. This will be their 3rd dragon of the game, only 20 minutes in, but Amazing's dead. That was quick. They do get a dragon, though.
Yeah, well,
trade.
We said if they can get that fight going, if they know they can kill someone, that's what Schalke want to do. And it looked like they caught Amazing when there was nobody else from Mysterious Monkeys around. I believe maybe it was Cosq up on the top side. 2 members of MM were on that dragon taking it down at the same time, but Schalke, maybe that is the pick that halts the MM onslaught.
It may do. There's still a 1,000 gold lead for the Mysterious Monkeys, and they have 3 dragons. And Schalke haven't actually been able to take too much off of this. They didn't even get much deep vision control. They're going to push out the waves once again. They will continue to scale, and they scale so well into the late game that perhaps they just want to slow this game down a little bit more.
So it wasn't Cosq. Cosq was actually at the dragon. It was just Yuki and Dreams that was around, and that was Schalke knowing there were 5 people stacked, and it didn't matter whether MM were all 5 members there. They assumed they weren't because of the way they had controlled division around Dragon earlier, they being MM, and Schalke just go. They pounce, say, okay, just Amazing, he's not tanky enough, we can take him out. This is reminiscent of Game 1, and they're not quite in the position they were in Game 1 to do this, but Schalke with another ballsy Baron play. TB coming out from Kikis.
They've got Cassio as well. We'll get it down to 2,000 HP and jump across the wall. Another steal for Mysterious Monkeys, and now perhaps they'll look for the fight. I cannot believe Amazing done that twice as Kikis jumps in and 3-man Nard draws them back. Schalke no fear continue to fall. A double kill for Cosq. Norscaran has to flash the wall, but Schalke once again fall at Baron.
And Mysterious Monkeys capitalize with swift judgment. In comes Kikis early on this. It was before the Baron had even got taken. He TPs in. Norscaran's trying to execute at this point. Dreams nearly got him. But the important thing is in mid lane right now, it almost feels like Schalke was saying, okay, we did this previously, we're going to commit to it because we want to grab Kikis, we want to get his TP out, and then weren't quite prepared for the fight on the back end, whereas Mysterious Monkey said, okay, Weaver's Wall's going to come through, you're locked in the pit, here comes the team fight you're not ready to take, and now they're continuing to march forward through the base, damage down onto Memento as the tower goes down.
They're going to get at least 2 towers off this singular push with the Baron, and then they still have 2.5 minutes of the Baron to push with. Another Infernal for them up next as well if they do decide to take that. This is what we wanted to see from the Mysterious Monkeys. Perhaps more a misplay from Schalke, though, as they went for the Baron without that pure advantage they had in game one.
You can see why they're committing in the sense that they're saying, okay, we need Kickers to come across. We've got it low. Amazing for the second time in 2 games, steals away the Baron, and already Mysterious Monkeys have won this fight, but Kickers catches 3 with the Gnar, even catches both Cadril and Upset with the wallop on the back end of that, and Mysterious Monkeys, this is basically a game-winning play from this. The steal into the critical damage through the mid lane, plus the kills on top of it, has separated these teams so far that Schalke have a lot of time that they're going to have to wait before they can get back into this game. No Archangels on Cadril. Tristana's only on 2 items, whereas Zaya is closer to a 3rd item. The Baron buff is in effect for 1 minute 30 still. Looking great position to tie this series up.
25 minutes in, they're going to have a 6,000 gold lead, extended that so much. And now we're going to start to see more items completed. You've got Essence Reaver Static Sheep, you've got a Bramble Vest on Kickers as well. Works so well into this double AD carry.
And into the Jace on the side lane as well. If ever they're 1v1, Northscaron could be just dead here.
Glacial Fisher comes out, Memento is dodging around, but it's another kill from the Mysterious Monkeys as they look dominant in this game, Stress.
Yeah, this has looked clean over the last 5 minutes. Of course, a lot of it has come from Schalke playing into their hands, but remember, the last time Mysterious Monkeys were in the bottom lane, they went aggressive with the Talia wall, managed to get the tower down. This has been way better. A lot more clean, almost more focused out of on a game plan. And you've seen the strength that this added team fight aspect has for the Gnar. This time it doesn't hit.
Yeah, Cadril down to the Petrifying Gaze onto Dreams, but already the inhibitor has fallen. And as much as Schalke 04 made the mistake, it was the Mysterious Monkeys that forced them to make the mistake. Had the lead, they had the game in their hand, and look at how far they've been able to extend that lead now. 7,000 gold ahead, items ahead across the board as well, and they are looking to equalize the series at 1-1.
Games like this, to me, remind me of why Gnar is one of the absolute strongest top laners right now. He's a safe blind pick. This game he was picked into the Jace, I recognize that. But look, he has weaknesses in both Mini Gnar and Mega Gnar form. But so few champions can actually contend with both. The fact he has good team fighting, good side lane push, good presence at all points in the game, survivability, damage threats, tankiness, so much goes into this. And Gnar is a champion that has been figured out. Easy to punish enemy mistakes on.
Cadril dodges the cocoon, but Yuki's on a killing spree. This AD carry played well in game one, but is playing astronomically better in this game too. 3-0-2 now on the Zaya. Coming back to that top lane point as well, Stress, this is why people say Kickers is better than Smitty J, because you said, and we said in Picks and Bans, Jace is a good matchup into the Gnar. And even with that, Kickers hasn't died, and he's been able to impact the game.
It is early on, and we saw Smitty J have that presence. Now, Kickers, especially with the Bramble Vest, past Frozen Mallet, past Black Cleaver, should be able to trade against the Jace. Yes, Jace will have a considerable amount of damage, but Kickers should be in control of this. They're so far ahead right now. He is 600 gold up on the individual lane, but a lot of it is to do with the amount of lane geography that Kickers has to work with. Long lanes in his favor. Smitty J can only be by his base. There's so much room to work with that this Gnar has a lot of freedom on top of that as well. Dragons in the mix as well. The Cloud Drake allows them to chase down before they get into combat, of course, and extra damage too.
I think double Infernal.
Yeah, that helps
I'd be
too.
eyeing that one up slightly more than I'd be eyeing up the Clouds. And it's a 3rd Infernal as well. Mysterious Monkeys are looking like they should be able to close out this game, but how exactly do they do it, Stress? Because we've got a minute and a half on the Baron, we've got the Infernal coming in at about 6, they've got 2 inhibitors down. Is it purely about waiting for Baron and then going for the push?
So at this point, it's about establishing the control of vision up through top side, pushing out top, making sure mid remains pushed, because you know Schalke are going to commit 2 or 3 people to try and de-push the super minions that are coming. You know Smitty J has teleport, so you can try and make a play to draw the teleport out now so that when the Baron is available, Smitty J has to commit to the bottom side and cannot make it there. That could be one of the aggressive plays that try and make here, and that would be the objective. But Kikis is up on the top side too. He's, remember, pushing out top side. That's one of the steps important here, so it might be a slow wait for Baron as you anticipated it.
Have to wait and see if Mysterious Monkeys are willing to take the fight. They have got a wave pushing in that top lane. They could just lock it out with the wall, as we have seen them do before. Kikis joining up with the rest of his squad, as is Smitty J. There's an 8,000 gold lead, well, 7,000 gold lead still for the Mysterious Monkeys. They're in a very strong position coming into this final push.
So Upset up 2-3 items here. Was the Weaver's Wall looking for a play on the top tower here.
But the wave gets played out pretty quickly by Upset with that static shiv. And you cannot forego Smitty J's damage as well.
And a lot of it is dragging up Schalke up to the top side, trying to deny Smitty J from clearing the wave further away from the base to give Schalke more time. Bot lane will push in. Mysterious Monkeys will retreat back. 15 seconds to go. Out go the wards. The sweepers just go through the jungle. And MM should have a comfortable Baron take here.
Mysterious Monkeys have had almost total control of this game since very early on. Schalke have yet to lose on blue side this split, but Mysterious Monkeys are looking to prove that wrong. Kikis continues to run onto Kager, who has to flash the seismic shove, and that will be the go bell for the Mysterious Monkeys as they turn back towards the bounce.
Yeah,
whoa, Memento is a long way away from his team. Upset's going to jump forward though. Kostu takes a chunk, Memento flashes away. Exhaust came down as well. Schalke trying to go for a catch, but cannot make it work.
Trying to put the health bars low on MM, so maybe they even force a recall out. MM still want to go for the Baron, so they grab the Honey Fruit, look towards the Baron after healing up a little bit. And look, bot lane, Smitty J has to stay down there. Upset even coming down to make sure they don't get damage onto the towers. Push back the next wave and try and deny the Baron push that's going to come from Mysterious Monkeys. But these inhibs, even if they come up soon, will be dropped very quickly by MM. There are the inhibs starting to come up.
But you've got such strength from the Mysterious Monkeys. We talked about their team fighting, and that's exactly what they want to do. All they want is a big fight now with this 7,000 gold lead, and that will spell the end for Schalke, because unless Schalke play it to an absolute T and mechanically perfectly, you do not overcome an 8,000 gold deficit.
It's just such a large deficit, but here comes the Weaver's Wall. We have to see how the play comes from this. Kikis has been such a terror. Just trying to walk forward, trying to hit anybody with the frozen mallet that he can, and it has worked well.
Upset has completed his last Whisper though. Not quite seen the third and a half item out from Yuki. There's a double Knight's Vow on the side of Schalke 04, only a single for Mysterious Monkeys. There are some tiny, tiny glimmers of hope if you're a Schalke 04 fan, but you should still be looking towards the third game and perhaps just a little bit of confidence here for Schalke.
Look at how afraid Smitty J has to play back away. Upset's coming down now, and as soon as he ends up showing, it means Mysterious Monkeys are more likely to commit on the top side, and that means Upset has to come back up towards there. Mid lane inhibitor is about to respawn. We just heard the alert come through, but Kikis just takes the bottom one himself.
They're waiting
now
for the Mega.
Though.
Upset jumps in, Kikis forced away, but that is, as you say, where Mysterious Monkeys are going to go in. Kostu jumps up towards the backside, the Featherstorm comes out, Amazing's killed Memento, and now the Mysterious Monkeys need to deal with the rest of these four members of Schalke. Upset is looking for the resets, you can see, he can see them in his eyes, but Kikis jumps in, goes mini. A kill onto Smitty J as well as the Mysterious Monkeys advance. And we said it would be a difficult fight for Schalke to take. They are on the losing side.
Yeah, two members dead. Flash forward from Yuki, and he's got him.
That crit at the end, that was beautiful. And the Mysterious Monkeys will be able to close out this game. You have to think Alistair's gone down towards the bottom side to bring in that Baron buff minions. And they are looking at only two members of Schalke in defense.
And from what a crazy game one was, back and forth with a backdoor to end it, Mysterious Monkeys clean, controlled last 10 minutes of this game, and they are just going to walk through the base looking unfazed to even up the series.
A 10,000 gold lead and only conceding a single kill and 2 towers across the course of the map. What a change it was for game 2 as Mysterious Monkeys even out at 1-1.
You couldn't have had two very more different games at that point, Medic. Like, Mysterious Monkeys looking almost like a different team here. Playstyle maintains some of the same aspects, but it was less just about the side lane push. They had more options. It wasn't the all-in side lane like the Aurelia, where you can only take very specific skirmishes. You had the catch-all top laner of, I can team fight you, and I can split push against you on Nah. And I have to feel it's going to be banned away in the next game. There's going to be a high contested pick in this series for the rest of the 3 games if we end up going that far.
I totally agree with you, Stress. And I think we were talking about it when Mysterious Monkeys were making these early plays, how clean they were, how effective they were, and how practiced they seemed to be. This composition and this style really seems to be Mysterious Monkeys' wheelhouse. This seems to be where they are comfortable.
And as much as we talk about Kikis and Amazing, because that's where our focus came in early, I actually think this game, CosQ, Yuki, Dreams did a good job at the same time. They were able to take the objectives, assist in the way that Mysterious Monkeys were always trading 2 for 1 on objectives. And then the fights, Dreams was always getting the engages. The damage out of Yuki was good. None of the 3 of them actually died.
Superb play by them, and we said before even the first game started, can CosQ play at a higher level against these Challenger Series mid laners? And he showed that today. His ability to lock off fights with that Weaver's Wall, his seismic shoves, always on point, allowed for the follow-up from Amazing as well. Mysterious Monkeys looking a lot stronger.
Yeah, the Talia was good out of CosQ. I don't have a whole lot of complaints, especially the way that they said, okay, let's bring Amazing into the mid lane early on, because remember, this game started with Memento basically just queuing away the red buff at level 3 from Amazing, and then he just revisits mid lane and goes, okay, now we're fine.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that early pressure from Memento not really paying off when he came into the mid game, and the second time as well we've seen Amazing stealing away a Baron from Memento. It's just, the smite was so early coming out from Memento in this, and Amazing was just able to get it.
Yeah, we can rewatch how it exactly went. So Schalke, of course, committing to this as they were trying to get Kikis TP. Repel comes up. Smite comes down from
Smite was
Amazing,
so early in the last one.
Yeah, in the last one, Memento didn't actually get his Smite off in that exchange, and at that point, Mysterious Monkeys were already starting to fight. Amazing did have the level advantage on that after the Baron play, so very comfortable from that moment. That moment was the turning point of the entire game, and from there just never looked back.
Yeah, they were ahead in the early game, but we've seen how much that can collapse for them. Schalke, on the other hand, just not really able to get on board. Perhaps a little bit too much scaling, perhaps a few lanes that are too weak in the early game for them to actually be able to capitalize on Memento's early pressure. And this is something that plagued them when they played against the Misfits Academy in playoffs as well. They tended to draft towards losing lanes and just weren't able to actually get a foothold in the game.
Yeah, this worked against Team RB because RB were, remember, quite a lane-focused team where they would start running out of options. They weren't quite coordinated on when they were going aggressive. Well, Mysterious Monkeys this game said, okay, well, this is what we've been practicing with the Rift Herald. We'll show it to you. We'll get all of your towers. And basically just continue to take objective after objective. And that was what we expected to see out of an LCS team when you actually have that objective focus and make that game plan work for you.
Yeah, well, we're deadlocked after 2 games between Schalke 04 and the Mysterious Monkeys. Find out which teams take the lead after the break.